Good afternoon, here from Los Angeles, Valerie Milano, the senior editor of the Hollywood Times and also with Aspiring Magazine back east. I am so happy to have my guest here today. I'm going to have him introduce himself.
Hey, my name is Andrew Davies Gans. I am a filmmaker, director of Voices, the Danny Gans story.
And I am one of the lucky ones that have been able to see it so far. Yes, Andrew, in telling your father's story, how did it help you better understand your own identity?
That's a very good question. I think it really helped me in exploring who my dad was. And throughout the process, you uncover a lot about who you are. Like making a film in general is very challenging. Um, but making a film about your father and telling his life story really kind of makes you re-look at yourself, kind of look at yourself in the mirror and check on, things like, am I being the best person I can be? Am I being the best husband? Am I really pursuing my dreams as best I can? And I became very resilient throughout the process of making this. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong at one point or another.
Mm.
And I just really had to dig deep and keep pushing forward. And a lot of the a lot of the difficulties came with balancing being the director, telling the story about my father, and also being on camera at the same time because I was constantly in a very vulnerable position. And you learn a lot about yourself in those situations. And I had a lot of anxiety throughout the process, just going through all those things in a very it's very private, but you have a camera in your face the whole time, but I feel like I became very resilient, very clear on what I wanted to do with my life, how I wanted to spend my time balancing my family and in pursuit of my dreams, and I feel more comfortable with myself. I think I don't feel like I have to prove myself as much as I used to.
Mm, nice. So, did making this documentary bring you a sense of closure or healing, or did it open up more questions?
I feel like I was blessed with this opportunity. And I feel like I did get closure. I felt like I got the closure um, that I needed, and I was able to say goodbye again, but I was able to do it on my own terms. And throughout the making of the film, I just had this new sense of pride and love for my father and the way that he lived his life and the things that he was able to accomplish, and also how he prioritized us and our family and the decisions he made in his career that may have looked like it could have hurt him at the time, but it turned out to be a blessing. Going to Las Vegas wasn't the most popular decision, but it was the way that he was going to be able to come home every night and be with us and drop us off at school in the mornings or on occasion or come to my baseball games. And so I do feel like I got what I needed. I got what I wanted out of making the film. I feel like I have a better relationship with him, a better understanding of who he was as a man. And again, I was able to say goodbye on my own terms.
So, you just talked about it a little bit, but how did you balance the subject, narrator, and filmmaker without losing objectivity?
I mean, that was really difficult. It was something I struggled with for a good portion of the production. And I was so overwhelmed at times with the emotions of the whole filming, the stress of making a film in general, the stress and the anxiety of going through this in a very um, public way, being on camera, knowing that people are going to see me going through and learning these things. And then as a director, I felt a huge obligation to tell the story very honestly and very allowing the audience to make their own determination, come to their own conclusions. And I didn't want to force feed them anything. And I feel like I did a good job of that. But to answer your question, I think I just constantly had to check in with myself and make sure that I was filling each role adequately. And it was a huge responsibility to tell my dad's story. I had my family kind of looking to me to honor him and do him justice, and I know that I did everything I possibly could to tell his story and share his life in the way that I felt he would be proud.
Was there any moments or footage that you struggled to include, either emotionally or legally?
Emotionally, absolutely. I really battled with how much to include with his health issues
Mhm.
and how that started to suffer in those last couple years. Because my dad was a very private person and he didn't want to burden us with those things. He wanted to protect us, but also he didn't want his band to worry about him. He didn't want people just kind of in his business. And I felt, am I betraying him by doing that? Am I betraying him by sharing this information? But I feel like I say it in the film, but in death, I feel like he can really help people and make it feel okay for people to talk about their health and the things that they're struggling with. And I think his story is inspiring in general, but I do feel like the film takes on so many different layers that I didn't anticipate at the beginning, whether it be the father-son dynamic, the health issues, and then just in general, just his story as alone, being this underdog, going from a professional baseball player to getting a career-ending injury and having to reinvent himself completely in something totally different, and climbing the ladder to the ranks and to the height that he did. I feel like that is incredibly inspiring, and um, I'm just I feel really grateful that I was able to experience all of this as hard and challenging as it was. Now being done and looking back on it, I'm a better person for it.
We, your father was beloved in Las Vegas, but often unappreciated nationally. What do you think audiences misunderstood about Danny Gans?
Hmm. I mean, Vegas is was and still is a big bubble, and he did not need to market himself outside of Las Vegas because the word of mouth was plenty. He was selling out shows every single night, week after week, month after month, year after year. I mean, he sold out, I think, 8 years in a row. Nobody's ever done that before, and nobody has done that since he passed. And um, he was not nationally recognized, I think, because he didn't put himself out there, but he didn't really need to. And he knew that if he were going to go on those talk shows, do TV spots, or try to do movies to widen his brand, it would take him away from the show and it would take him away from the family, which kind of, contradicts why he moved there in the first place. And I think that's why. And also in general, I think impressionists are kind of hard to understand in general. Like there are so many different ways that people can do impressions, and the way that my dad did his show, like it's very hard to explain that to someone without just showing it to you.
Yeah. Um, so many things I can say, but I'll say it in my article. If your father I could see this film, what do you hope that he'd feel or say?
If my father saw the film, what do I hope he would say? Good job. I'm proud of you.
About that. And to start winding it down a little bit. So, what's next for you? Will you continue making personal stories or explore other genres or narratives? Is this in your bloodstream?
Yes, I am definitely going to continue making films, that's for sure. For the past 8 to 10 years, I had been producing films, and this is my first time directing, as you know. I wouldn't consider myself a documentary filmmaker. Right now, I don't have plans on making another documentary, but I have been writing and developing some material and scripts. And I do have a crime thriller that I'm very excited about that I want to have as my next film. And so after the premiere and after we get some distribution for the documentary, I plan on really pursuing that, trying to attach some talent, raise some money, and get that up and running probably in the next 6 to 9 months.
Good for you. Well, I know before I hit the record button, we talked a little bit about what's going on in your life now. Do you feel comfortable to talk about your children?
Sure.
Good. So I want to hear about your daughter and her birthday.
Oh, yes. So my daughter Charlotte, we found out, my wife and I found out that she was pregnant during the making of the film. And when we had gone to those initial appointments, the doctor said, "Well, your due date is going to be right around like the end of October." And my dad's birthday is October 25th. And so as we were getting closer to the date, I was still filming, doing interviews, and I flew home to be with her. And we go to the hospital. It's October 24th, and she's in labor, and then it turns to October 25th, my dad's birthday. And not an hour later, Charlotte comes and she's born, and I get chills every time I talk about it because it's just so special. You couldn't have thought that up, to be making a film about my father and to become a father during the making of the film. And not only that, but to have my daughter's birthday, my firstborn, on my dad's birthday. It's just one of those things that you can't make up, and it just has to be one of those moments that are gifted to you from above.
No doubt about it. And we do not want to forget about your baby. Talk about him a little bit.
Yes, so Charlotte is 18 months, and we have a second child, a boy. His name is Oliver, and he's a joy. He has a very different personality than Charlotte. Charlotte is very loving and affectionate and very tidy and very, um, just just the cutest little doll. And Oliver is an absolute tornado. And he's gonna be just fine, but he's going through a rough patch, not sleeping very well. So my wife and I are taking turns getting about 3 hours of sleep a night. But we asked for it, and we're very blessed to have these healthy, beautiful babies, and all these little sleepless nights will be nothing in the long run.
The voice is the Danny Gans story. Going to be right here outside my window almost at the Chinese Theater at Dances with Films coming up. And I can't wait to meet you in person, not just virtually.
Yes.
So, how can our viewers and our readers find out more about you and about this great documentary that you've made about your father?
Well, anybody can find me on Instagram at Gans_Andrew. And you can learn about my films and this film in particular by going to glansrock.productions. And I'm looking forward to the premiere, looking forward to meeting you. And I hope people really enjoy Voices.
Yes. And we're the Hollywood Times dot today. Our YouTube channel is the Hollywood Times Official. So thank you so much again, Andrew, for your dad's story, your family story, and for being with us today. And keep telling those stories because you do them very well.
Thank you very much. It means a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.